I want you guys to do a little exercise with me here real quick, okay? Put yourself into the shoes of a Ubisoft executive, assessing the landscape that is the 2024 gaming spectrum and seeing craters that you have placed in that battlefield in the form of Star Wars Outlaws, X-Defiant, Skull and Bones, and a couple of pieces of shrapnel from Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, and then you see your contemporaries also littering its corpses across said field. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Unknown 9, Tales of Kenzara Zhao, Dustborn is out there looking around, realizing that, there's a big problem in the industry. Properly assessing it and figuring out that, there are certain strategies that we're trying to employ that's just not working. That is just not working. And you know what? Instead of realizing that perhaps a different tactic, something that we should be employing instead of just sending these projects out to die. No. We need to go ahead and double down. We need to go ahead and use our unpopular and unsuccessful tactics even harder. Because that's what they're doing out there. Can you imagine coming to that conclusion? Can you imagine? If you're the shot caller in this, logically thinking that this is the correct way to go, there's a reason why Ubisoft stock is in the shape that it's in right now. Because you got Assassin's Creed Shadows boss claims DEI is killing the game. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm glad that you have finally come back to reality. And then not only doubles down on it, but also attacks critics. Oh, okay, cool. So it's really not that they're mistaken. It's really not that they're just simply unaware of the backlash, just stupid, not malicious. Turns out that they're actually malicious. All right, then. Ubisoft Assassin's Creed boss, Marc-Alexis Cote, admitted that the company's injection of DEI into Assassin's Creed Shadows is harming the game's potential, but declared that he plans to double down on it and even attack his critics. Bold strategy. Don't think it's gonna work, given the fact that you already had to delay the game. You had to slash the price like the neck of an innocent Japanese guy, as pictured right there, by $50. Not 15, not 5, 50. You had to get rid of your DLC plans and cut the early access portion. But hey, no, we'll just double down on all of the stuff that led us to that situation, because it's a little bit different of a situation from Star Wars Outlaws, because there's a lot of things that you can say about that disaster, but overtly woke, DEI infused, not really. Maybe a little bit feminist. You could go ahead and throw that in there. There are a whole bunch of girl bosses on both sides of the equation, and the bad guy was ultimately a insecure white guy. There's some problems that are right there, but is it any different than a lot of other things that are out there in the entertainment zeitgeist? Not really. To say that that was the unique disqualifier for that buggy disaster? Not quite. Not quite. But this time around, okay, from the moment that Shadows was announced, everybody was looking at this going, finally a feudal Japanese. What's with the black samurai? That doesn't make any sense. And then the gaslighting started with, Yasuke, he's a big historical figure. No, he was actually a retainer and a novelty for Nobunaga. Better luck next time. No. He's historical. He's significant. Here, take a look at all of our experts. And then, of course, we know about the back and forth that went on. But Ubisoft, in having to issue an apology to the offended Japanese, to take this game around to different games conferences and nobody engage with it on the floor. Them, once again, just stepping in it time and time again, getting caught stealing imagery, plagiarizing props off of Amazon. Like, this has just been a bungled mess to a point where your inherent DEI policies and practices at Ubisoft are about the least of your concerns. But okay, this is the hill that you want to die on. Not exactly the best thing that you could do, but in the case of Ubisoft, most believable thing that you would do. As reported by Eurogamer, color me surprised, Côté made an appearance at a BAFTA event where he shared that discussion of Ubisoft's DEI policies can influence how our gamers are perceived, but rather than shy away from these conversations, we should see them as an opportunity. Yeah, it's interesting to have a conversation with one party that you can't really pin down as to what their position is going to be, because depending on the day, they either want to tell a historical story and they want to be true to the lore, or they just want to tell whatever the hell story they want to. It's like, how can you have a conversation if somebody's refusing to engage it in good faith? From there, he attempted to gaslight people in attendance by stating Assassin's Creed has always been about exploring the full spectrum of human history, and by its very nature, that history is diverse. Yes, if you're going to be telling different historical stories from around the world, inherently, by that simple nature, it's going to be diverse. You're telling a Japanese story, it's going to be about Japanese people. You're telling an Italian story, it's going to have a lot of gobbledygook in it. But telling these historical stories at a time when multiculturalism wasn't something enriching the West, bro, that wasn't the case. Staying true to history means embracing the richness of human perspectives. See what I mean by somebody who can't quite keep firm grasp on reality? Yeah, without compromise. Bro, it's like you've been exposed time and time again of compromising on whatever the hell you're trying to put out there, so stop it. He continued, for example, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we highlight figures, both fictional, like Naoi, and fictional, like, historical, like Yasuke, the African-born samurai. Bro, it's already disputed, and in fact debunked, that he wasn't a samurai. What are you doing? He was a retainer at best, and a novelty at worst for Oda Nobunaga. Get your shit right. While the inclusion of a black samurai in feudal Japan has sparked questions and even controversy, Naoi, as a fictional character, has also faced scrutiny for her gender. Normally you'd want to compare and contrast two things when you say, or rather make the comparison between your quote-unquote historical and fictional characters. So how can a historically fictional character have faced scrutiny for her gender? Okay, so again, you're exposing yourself as injecting modern deism and identity politics in a story that doesn't need it. And then he justified the character of Naoi, but just as Yasuke's presence in Japanese history is fact, it's just your depiction isn't fact. So too are the stories of women who defied societal expectations and took up arms in times of conflict. Yeah, that's nice. I'm sure that'll be accurately represented, just how important and influential they were, right? While both Naoi and Yasuke's stories are works of historical fiction. Oh, okay. That's how you weave it together. We're going to use this historical person and weave it together into a historical fiction. Okay. They reflect the collision of different worlds, cultures, and roles, and their inclusion is precisely the kind of narrative that Assassin's Creed seeks to tell, one that reflects the complexity and interconnectedness of our shared history. You're French. What's your interconnected history with the Japanese? Yeah. Côte then pulled out the tired talking points that leftists always use. It's always been woke, or in this case, it's always been diverse. Right. This isn't new ground for the franchise. From Altair to Aveline, whatever the protagonist of Assassin's Creed 1, Liberation, and Assassin's Creed 3, respectively. No. Connor was the protagonist of Assassin's Creed 3. We've consistently introduced protagonists from diverse racial, ethnic, and gender identities. What are you trying to get away with saying gender identities? You've had a lot of men, you've had a couple of women. Stop it. History is inherently diverse, and so is Assassin's Creed and the stories we tell. Right. Because you have this nebulous definition of diverse, it'll just fit whatever you need it to. So to be clear, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity and respect for diverse perspectives not driven by modern agendas. You've exposed yourself time and time again in just that little snippet. That just clearly isn't the case. You liar! You liar! Next, Côte attacked critics of Ubisoft diversity and inclusion policies. Oh right, the people that were once fans of your games and that you've turned off because of your inclusion of diversity and inclusion policies, because they have destroyed creativity and ruined your once great franchises. Alongside these deep-rooted franchise values is our commitment to recognize and listen to legitimate criticism, and is an essential part of our creative process. Yes, a legitimate criticism, not just the chuds out there on the internet. Right. We define whatever legitimate is, because if we don't like it, it's illegitimate, but if it reinforces our opinions, then it's legitimate. Our community helps us grow, evolve, and deliver better games. Today, we all, however, face the added challenge of distinguishing between genuine feedback and attacks driven by intolerance. Those dastardly people, those dastardly Japanese that just want to see their culture properly represented. How dare they be so intolerant about this black guy running through killing a bunch of Asians like it's San Francisco samurai. The current climate is tough on our creative teams. Right, feel bad for this multi-million-dollar company that was on track to be a multi-billion-dollar company until he started to adopt all of these poisonous policies. They face lies, half-truths, and personal attacks online. Really, can you cite any of that stuff? Any of it? Seriously. No, you'll just say it and we're supposed to feel bad for you. When the work they pour their hearts into is twisted into a symbol of division. Now, is that one of the symbols that you stole from somebody else? Or are you just trying to be fanciful with your words and saying that, when their work is twisted, or we see their twisted work and go, wow, that's of low quality. Why is she clipping through the wall and getting stuck or falling through the floor? Why are those animations repackaged from 6 games ago? You're working real hard, huh? Stop attacking us. I'm especially proud of the Shadows team for staying true to their creative vision and the core tenets of Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I'm so proud that we had to delay the game by 4 months and put it back to the drawing board in certain aspects. Oh, okay. Côte declared, by choosing Naoe and Yasuke as protagonists, we are expanding the narrative landscape. How? Offering new points of view that challenge established norms found in many works of fiction, while staying true to history that shaped them. Yeah, this is also the problem with modern writing. It's these people that think that they're too smart for, the stories that have stood the test of time. Your classical hero's journey, your archetypal stories that all of the greatest films, TV series, and video games have followed in some form or fashion. These are people that are not even smart enough to tell you what they did in a specific day, but they think that they're so wise and sagacious as to tell you this big subversive take on history. Fantastic. I would take you a little bit more seriously if I haven't seen your work and realized that it was written in crayon. At the end of the day, Assassin's Creed is not just a franchise, it's a platform for entertainment, and we must use that platform to air all of our modern day grievances through the lens of history. Dialogue, discovery, and understanding. Our commitment isn't just about reflecting on the past, it's about ensuring that the stories I didn't actually realize that my little aside would end up being so accurate. We continue to unite, inspire, and challenge players regardless of their background, and we'll continue to stand by these values because, see, they're just so boring and predictable. That's why I could go off and just interweave that historically fictitious aside, and it just sounds so natural, and then just end up being reaffirmed by the end of his segmented diatribe. We'll continue to stand by these values because they are central to the heart of the franchise, and I believe to the future of storytelling itself. Yeah, because they want their low effort, low viability storytelling to be the norm. That's a big problem that I have with, Dragon Age the Veilguard, outside of it just being insufferably woke and DEI infused. It's a bad story. It's a story that, I've watched the prologue be streamed by a few different people. I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but it makes sense, right? That prologue where they just hammer you over the head with proper noun after proper noun, place, people, all of these people that are supposed to make sense, and you get to this big grandiose conclusion at the end where you think that somebody's going to end up dying, and it's like, who the fuck cares? I have no idea who any of these people are. I barely know where the hell you are. This is supposed to be this big emotional high. It's like you're coming in at a story, and I understand that that's the 4th game in a established story that they're telling. But it's also a prologue, and you're supposed to hook people in because this is also the 4th game, and the last one came out just about a decade ago. It's these incompetent storytellers missing out and telling you important plot beats that would make the story make sense. It's like being told the day at school by a child that they just went through. It's about that competent. It really is, because they're going to miss out on certain pieces of context that they know inherently that would make the story make sense, but because I don't know why Jill and Jasmine don't get along together and why Billy and Bobby push down Jimmy at recess. None of this makes sense. You just pat the kid on the top of the head and say, that's a great story, dear, and then you just move them along. But we're expected to take and accept that level of storytelling in a $60, $70, $200 game? Yeah, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. So if you want to continue to double down and say that Assassin's Creed it's not a game, but something else altogether, Assassin's Creed is more than just a game. Yeah, it can be a platform for meaningful exploration and reflection wrapped up in excitement of unforgettable gameplay. Here's the thing. Like, even before this stuff got far too political and preachy, people were already getting off of the Assassin's Creed bandwagon because your gameplay was trash. It wasn't evolving at all whatsoever. You were stuck in a death loop where you were just moving from different setting to setting, and it was all the same open world Ubi slop. And that's what you have right here. It just so happens to also be perverting a culture that is very much keen on preserving it, and then adding just some of the worst aspects of modern deism that everybody is already sick with dealing with in bigger and better games. So have fun going down with the ship, Ubisoft. If you thought 2024 was bad, it looks like 2025 is going to kick off in an even worse position, and you only have yourself to blame. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.